Okay, it's 8:30. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'd like to note that Commissioner Pierce is joining us by phone, and I'd like to begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Leanne, you still with us? Well, at this point, while we're recalling her, invitation for a citizen to schedule time on the commission agenda for an item not listed. Okay. Approval of the agenda. Is anybody, well, we better wait for Leanne.
Hello, this is Leanne. Sorry, we got disconnected.
That's okay. I think you're back now. We're just getting underway.
Thank you.
Okay, we're at the point of approval of the agenda. Is there anything that the commissioners wish to change or point out? Anything from staff? Okay. Okay, I will consider the agenda approved without objection. Consent agenda of approval of the minutes, travel and education requests, personal action notices, cellular allowances, and human services report. Any comment or questions from the commission? Hearing none, I consider it approved without objection. Routine business, approval of claims. Miller, Krogman, question or discussion concerning the claims?
There was one correction that I placed in front of you this morning on your desks. It was noted on the second sheet. For highway for supplies, they split that into two different GL lines. Some of it came out of repairs and maintenance, and then some out of supplies and materials. It must have all been in one line before, so that was just a correction, but still out of the highway fund.
Okay, thank you. Any other question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the claims with the adjustment in the highway, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Department head reports. We're going to begin with community health, and we have Jen Burns and her new person who I met at the pandemic, and I forgot the name right at the moment.
Good morning. My name is Jen Burns, one of the nurses, and this is Karen Larson. I'm the full-time nurse in our office. We have quite the changeover in our office. As you know, Karen started with us in March, and she's pretty well done with orientation, doing services full-time on her own. We hired Lisa Skovland as our part-time clerical, which when Brenda Kahn retired, full-time clerical, Sally, the part-time clerical, went up to the full-time position, and then Lisa has the part-time position. And Lisa currently today, I would have brought her with to introduce you to her also, but she is in Pier doing the WIC online training. So we can get her going in the WIC program too. So we have lots of changes. It's kind of fun and exciting. Everything else, we're trying to keep our heads above water, but we're doing good. As far as immunizations, there's that law that's being passed that's going to be requiring middle school students to receive the Tdap vaccine. So it's going to be kind of a gradual process. It's not going to be required for all middle schoolers this year, but it's going to be something that gets transitioned in. So you'll probably be seeing us doing more Tdap vaccines like in the schools, if possible, or doing some Tdap clinics to try to get those kids immunized. We have scheduled some of our flu clinics with the schools also. We are going to try to do some of those flu clinics during school hours and then offer them kind of in the later part of the day. Some of the other counties have had better luck with doing those flu immunizations during the school day because parents can send the papers, can send it with the child to school, and then the child can get vaccine and not have to come in the evening hours and have to wait in line for a couple hours. But we still will be available from, say, like 3 to 5 or 3 to 6 for those parents who want to be with their children while they receive the flu vaccine. So that's something that we'll be working on and talking with the new superintendents and principals in the Brookings area to see how that'll work. School services for next year are scheduled. They're in the book for now, as far as we'll be doing school services in the fall instead of in the spring like we have in the past few years. So getting those kids screened earlier, so if they do have vision issues, then they can be referred to an eye doctor. Pregnant women, we still continue to see those on a monthly basis between Karen and I. Infant mortality, we've really been focusing the last 3 months on that early prenatal care and focusing a lot on smoking cessation during pregnancy, the importance of it, and then trying to encourage family members of those pregnant women also to quit smoking. Other than that, I already discussed our staffing, and any questions?
Questions, commissioners? Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks
Yes.
for coming in. Look forward to seeing you again. Okay, Mike.
Good morning. Last time I said it seemed like the welfare was kind of down. We've been getting a lot more calls. The nature of the problems that they're having, though, is part of it is the way that the BMU is now having some more teeth into some of their bills, and so I, for the first time in my life, have seen a $3,000 water bill, which no, we don't pay $3,000 for water, but I'd never seen anything like that before. But because some of the homes don't actually have street shutoffs, and the meters are inside, they can't go inside and turn off the water, and that's how that gets so large. But we're trying to work with some other agencies and stuff to get that figured out, what can be done to get the water back onto that house. Anyway, as far as calls, we had 134 calls in, 152 calls out. And then as far as veterans, we had 41 veterans stop in the last 2 weeks, which is a little larger than the average number, and we had 40 come in for the welfare side of it. I did get a call from one of the organizations that I'm a member of, and they asked me to be on the VA Research Council. And so I'm trying to do a little more research on what the Research Council is. It's been with the VA for over 90 years. As a lot of you probably know, whenever we do have a war or conflict, that it gives the VA actually it comes up with a lot of new medical treatment, the prosthetics and stuff. This particular one deals with more with mental health and how they treat mental health, and what the other part of it is that they're trying to do is collect blood from 1 million veterans, and then look at those that have some psychological issues versus those that don't, and see how the medication is affecting as far as their blood is concerned. And so a lot of it sounds way over my head, but I'm willing to read along with them. So anyway, that's one of the new things that's coming up.
Any questions for Mike? Mike, let me just ask you a VA question. They're in
Yes.
the news all the time. Let's say you're a veteran and you don't have a war injury, but and you want to use the VA, you can use it, correct, for cancer or something like that. But what if you wanted to be treated at home? Then you're under TRICARE, or
Actually, no. A TRICARE is you have to have been retired out of the military. There's a couple different ways. You can be medically retired or do the 20 years or, do
That's
5 on active.
full-time service. Yeah,
Right.
okay.
Or you can be in the National Guard for 20 years and get, or reserves or whatever.
Oh, I meant more than just your, back
More than
when we
just
got drafted for 2 years, yeah, okay.
And now the other way right now, of course, is going to be either that system or if you're under what the means test is. Currently, the means test is about 34,000 a year for a couple, slightly less than that for a single veteran. The other thing is, and I'm glad you said cancer, because there is another way of getting in. It's called a catastrophic. And if you do have cancer, we can get you in the VA healthcare system. And because of Agent Orange, we have a lot of cancers and a lot of cancer research done by the VA. And so if we have a veteran that has cancer that would like to use the VA system, I would encourage them so, especially advancements in like prostate cancer and some of the other ones like that. They're way ahead of the ball.
Well, I guess I just always wondered, in South Dakota, we're such a sparse state, we only have a couple of places to go. And I always wondered why we don't do the voucher system for VA and let them go to their hospital.
Oh, no, that's, they did have a new program that came out, which it's fairly complicated. And since we do have a DAV van at Brookings, I just say veteran wants to go to the Sioux Falls VA, we'll give you a ride and don't try going through that other system.
Okay, that's just, thanks for clearing it up. Robert?
Good morning. The Planning Commission met on July 7th, and it was a good meeting. We tabled a couple items that's going to come back in August. Homeland Security grants are still being accepted up until July 31st, 2015. March 12th exercise, we did get the finalization paperwork from FEMA, and I will be sending that out to everyone. And then this fall, we will have to start doing some of the training and stuff to work on the findings of that particular exercise. September is going to be National Preparedness Month. September 19th, the American Red Cross is having a disaster preparedness run, walk, fun type thing over at the hospital. And then we will have our September 30th day downstairs and invite the public in to see that. Tomorrow I've got a tabletop exercise with the United Living Community. We're going to start going over some of their stuff. Our next big exercise is August the 13th, and that will be a full-scale exercise. The plans are into Office of Emergency Management on that, and now I'm working with the sub-parties on that particular one. That's going to include the City of Volga and our Pandemic Planning Coordination Committee. And the IA course, in one of the minutes I saw in the newspaper, said that was an exercise. The IA course, September 3rd, is not an exercise. It's going to be a short briefing on what to do for individual assistance in case a community gets hit with a storm or something. And I'll start sending stuff out to the small towns and try to get their mayors or their city clerks in to attend that particular one, because that would be a good one for local elected officials to come and see, and possibly fire chiefs. I did attend the NACO conference, and I passed out some paperwork to Ms. Stephenson, and I gave Commissioner Weissef some stuff from it. When it comes to the water estate, which I was really hoping they'd do a lot on, basically the bottom line is everybody's suing everybody else, and once all the lawsuits are done, then they'll figure out what power the Corps of Engineers and the Environmental Protection Agency will have on the properties. And South Dakota is part of one of the litigation suits. So sometimes you find out everything you need, and sometimes you don't. And I visited Rainbow Place Systems for an emergency management visit. And this is the second organization invited me over. And what I do there is I go in and look at their safety plans, and they ask questions, and we look at tornado shelters, and they just ask for advice if there's anything that they could do better. We had a E911 meeting on July 15th. And under nuisance issues, North Grove, at the last meeting, you gave me permission to go ahead and contract that out and get the place cleaned up. I did meet with the contractor up there yesterday, either later this week or the first part of next week. That will be, the complete lot is going to be cleaned up, stuff disposed of. We will take the bill, and I'll work with the deputy state's attorney and the finance officer to figure out how to get them paid. And then, of course, we'll let the legal people take care of that. The second nuisance I've got is the one in the Volga area. My deputy and I did visit the area yesterday to observe, and the landowner was there at this time, and he allowed me in to take my photographs to verify what was going on. And they also had legal counsel on scene. And after discussion with the legal counsel, I explained who our legal counsel was, and I said, Brookings County we're not out for punishment. What we would like to do is get this place cleaned up in a timely manner. So if it's all right with the county commission, I'd like to work one more time with the party and our legal counsel, get a plan that's got some set dates and benchmarks where we can actually verify what's going on and give it another shot. Does the board have any issues with that?
You're wanting to give them.
I guess I would have to work with Ms. Howard and the deputy state's attorney in the state's attorney's office and their legal counsel and the landowner on that. I'm thinking 6 months and
For the end of the year type of thing?
yeah.
How long has it been dragging on?
This time since 2014, there's been various things going on.
Have they been making an effort to clean things up? Sort of.
It could be on the shorter side, I would say. I mean, if I took pictures that we took in 2013 and 14 and pictures that I took yesterday, I could say one or two things have been recycled. The big issue is there's a lot of stuff there that's just not recyclable. It's just going to have to be hauled to the landfill and dumped. And the legal counsel that arrived, he seemed to think that they can get the local community, the landowners in the local area, maybe they can all get together and work with this party. This party is a disabled party, and they've got some issues of their own. But, you know, we can only go so many years, and we got to do something.
Is 6 months realistic?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Depending upon the weather. I mean, obviously, if we start to get snow in September, it may not be. But if we get a good winter and we don't get no heavy snowfall before November, they can probably do it.
I just think that maybe we should have a clear definition of junk and treasure, because each person, that is a judgment call.
I actually did discuss that with the legal counsel yesterday.
Yeah.
And I would invite any county commissioner that would like to come out with me to tour the area, and I'd be more than happy. I did tell the legal counsel that I cannot sit there and put a sticky note on every item to say, is this good? Is this bad? Is this junk? Is this an antique? That's above my authority, you know. But and with the legal counsel there, we went through and we looked at certain things, and I explained, you know, the 1938 Farmall tractor would probably be a historical vehicle, you know, but the 2006 Chevrolet Cavalier that doesn't run probably isn't. So, I mean, we're not out to do anything shady here. We just need the place cleaned up.
Yeah.
I think maybe with the legal counsel, and if it doesn't work out, we still got the ordinance behind us where we can go in. It would probably take us 4 days to have it cleaned up if I had to contract it out. And that would be going from one side of the property to the other, because they would have to sort out what's recyclable and what's not. You can't just go in and bulldoze the whole thing, because there is a lot of recyclable stuff. Yes, Commissioner?
So Bob, you feel some of the cleanup is financially impaired, that they could not afford, or?
I would say that. It's two elderly brothers that just, you know, they try, but
But the neighbors are willing to
it sounds
pitch in.
sounds like, according to the legal counsel, he seems to think that he can get a workable plan to us. I said, well, that's what it's going to take because
I good for the 6 months, and
okay. And on looks like September 10th, Yankton County's having a full-scale exercise, and they requested assistance to evaluate it. So if it's all right with the board, I'll run down. Yankton County's the one that donated all the sandbags to us, and it's in our region district. And for our full-scale exercise in August, I'm actually going to reach out to Lake County, since it's the closest county, and see if he'll come help us, because I'm running out of people to ask to be evaluators. By me pulling the pandemic planning committee in to do to exercise, I lose my evaluators. I lost Bob McGrath and those people who normally would evaluate me. So, and last but not least, August 25 to 27, I have a meeting in Washington on the Gas Pipeline Advisory Committee, which is paid for by the government, the travel and expenses. Any questions?
okay. Yeah. Any questions? Leanne?
How was NACO?
It was good. You always learn something, and I sat in a lot on the justice, which is the emergency. I finally found a niche where emergency management fits in NACO. Before, I always went to the planning stuff and was all over the place. But NACO's got the justice and committee, and that's where emergency management fits in. And they've actually got some emergency managers on that particular committee. And
Good.
And thank you for thinking of thank yous for FEMA. I saw your thank you on behalf of the commission, and also to Yankton for that. So,
very good. Thank you.
okay. Okay, Joyce.
Good morning. Just going to start back a little bit. On June 25th, we had a Eastern South Dakota sales ratio workshop here in the building. So we've been putting the building to good use lately, and I think there was probably about 40 in the room, so that was good. The field person that I introduced to you probably about a month ago, Karina Erickson from the Department of Revenue, 2 weeks ago spent 2 days in our office and went around with Jacob, our appraiser, and she had never gone out and appraised property. So she spent 2 days doing some review in Brookings City, how we handle that. She went out in the rural area and did some grain bins, and she did some new houses with Jacob. So hopefully we taught her a few lessons in the appraisal world. Chris is currently creating in our office the new road district that Lake Hendricks area created, so that's being taken care of. In my life, I had said I didn't need to go to school again, and I have been asked to help teach a class at school on construction, so I have a hard time saying those two letters, no. So I will be assisting with teaching a class this fall. Chris and I and Jim Sampson attended the First District presentation 2 weeks ago on the new real estate website that they're developing. I think First District has a good product going. I think it will be a wonderful tool for small counties that are limited on budget dollars, and they are getting it going. There were several small counties there that are interested in it. Right now, my thoughts are for Brookings County to remain with Beacon, as we have enough subscribers that are paying for the maintenance of Beacon, and I would not want to upset the subscribers that use Beacon, and Beacon is a renowned company and product that is used all over the country. So right now, I would recommend that Brookings stay with Beacon, but we can keep researching, and it was a good day to go out and learn something about the new product. But I think it'll be a great tool for small counties with very limited budgets. If they can get GIS in their office through help with First District and get a website going, small counties will benefit greatly. So that was a good meeting. We had a district meeting of our District 5, our South Dakota Association of Assessing Officers last week in DeSmet, and we were fortunate enough, they took our group through the new event center, the community center that DeSmet has built. It's a community-funded, grant-funded building, and if you get an opportunity to visit that, it's a wonderful addition to that community. Very well thought out, very well planned. So that was a very interesting part of our district meeting. 2 resolutions are going to be coming out at your county commission, probably state association. One of them I want you to be aware of, and then I'll get into the second one. In the state law, and now I don't have the numbers with me, 10.3, when you have to meet with the director at the first meeting in April, or the first Tuesday in April, is the way the law reads. I had recommended to legislative committee this year that we work on getting that changed to the first meeting in April versus the first Tuesday in April, because you don't always meet on the first Tuesday. So I think you will see a resolution to that effect at your state convention through James River Group. Our chairperson of our legislative group is from Spink County, and she's working with her James River to draft that and get that finalized. Yesterday, I attended the Ag Task Force meeting. It was the first one this summer. Many new members on the group, which either here nor there, things got changed around a little bit with the memberships. The chairperson is now the vice chair. Larry Roden is the vice chair, and Jim Peterson from our area is the chair. And then there were other members. Larry Tiedemann has been added for our area, and there's a lot of ranchers on the group, and that it was an educational meeting, bringing them up to par on where we've been, how we got where we are, and where we need to go from here. So it was a long day with some directives given to the new board, which we will work on through the other meetings. But something that's coming out of Fall River County that you will see as a resolution, and it's what I passed out to you this morning, and there were many Fall River people at the meeting yesterday, and many of them testified to the issue in Fall River that they are finding with rangeland, with crop soils that are being valued as crop and cannot be cropped, and they are definitely range. So they are pushing for actual use to be used on rangeland that can't be cropped. And we spoke to several of these people saying that this issue cannot just be this direction. And their issue they want to fix out there, and I totally understand that. But if we're going to go to actual use on rangeland, we need to go to actual use or find a solution for the issues. And because we have a lot of grassland in eastern South Dakota that's being cropped. So it goes both ways. And so hopefully the Ag Task Force is aware of this, and the Fall River people, I think we opened their eyes a little bit when we spoke to them individually that this can't be a fix just for the western part of the state. So I think this will be a big discussion through the meetings of the task force, and what will come in legislation is yet to be known, but we need to get our point across that a western fix doesn't fix the eastern. So, any questions on any of that?
Mr. Chair, I would like to tell you that something that came out of that meeting directly to me was how fantastic you are. And so I just, kudos to you for all you know and all you do and the way that you present and explain to people, because people understood exactly what you were saying. And the word that was used was, Joyce is fantastic. So just wanted to let you know.
Well, thank you for that, but I do my job. I hope I serve the people of Brookings County well, is what I'm here for. Lastly, if there's no other questions on that, we have finished interviewing for an administrative assistant in our office, and we had 64 applicants Yes, and we interviewed 7, and there is an offer sitting out there that's not quite final yet. So hopefully, when I meet with you again, I can introduce a new person. So, any other questions?
Huh? Thank you, Joyce.
Thank you.
Leanne, you still there? Just in case we lost you. Leanne? We lost her. Stacy? We lost Leanne again. When I said her name earlier, she didn't respond, so I was a little,
This doesn't tell me.
gee, huh? Okay. We're going to move to you, Marty. Is that all right? As soon as we're done ringing here, I wonder if she's trying to call back and, huh?
Thank you for calling me back. I wasn't actually disconnected. I heard all of Joyce's stuff. What happens is I put my phone on mute and I can't get it to come back off. I'm going to leave it unmuted. If I'm making too much noise, you guys let me know and I'll mute it again.
Well, I hope you're in a quiet place. Okay.
Good morning. Just a quick overview of the jail. I have 24 inmates, 58 on 24/7, and I have 5 of those 24/7 on the drug patch. So that's kind of picking up a little bit. That's starting to be utilized a little bit more, and I'm sure in the near future there'll probably be more individuals that will be put on the drug patch and those types of things when we get into drug court and that type of stuff that's around the corner. The other thing is that, of course, you're aware of the juvenile that escaped from my building, and that since has been corrected, that door. That was originally when the jail was remodeled, that was what we would call a juvenile holdover. There was a grant that juveniles could be held in there for a short time that were not charged with a crime, basically. They were status offenses, such as runaway and child in need of supervision and stuff. Since that program has kind of gone away, that's kind of my catch-all room. That's also the nurses, where the nurse evaluates inmates at times, and it's the fingerprint room, and then we do put juveniles, and it was just a glitch in a lock, which has been corrected and so forth. So, and then there's some others. We're changing some door, the locks on the doors and policy on how we use that room. So we had the assistance from 2 agents. We called out the local canine, county canine. They're volunteers, and also a deputy sheriff in Lake County has a drug tracker dog. And these dogs were right on. It was if the lady wouldn't have called up and said, "There's a guy under my evergreen tree," the dogs were about 100 yards away from them. So I'm confident that if we didn't get the tip, the dog would have sniffed him out. So anyway, and he was placed waiting to go to. We were waiting for a transport officer to come to transport to Sioux Falls. We had just solved a case on a burglary, Taylor Fireworks burglary, and that was the individual. And so anyway, we got that taken. Right after our last, I think it was the Wednesday after our last commission meeting, I went to a regional sheriff's meeting in Watertown, and I suppose there was about 10 or 15 of us sheriffs there from this area and stuff, and we talked about a lot of things. The biggest, well, I wouldn't say the biggest, but one of the things we talked about was the enhanced concealed weapons permit that went into law July 1st. However, the state is not ready to proceed with that. You know, they got the law going, but they didn't figure out how to do it. And the biggest, there's some administrative rules, such as the state has to train individuals from areas in the state to instruct a class, because the new enhanced concealed weapons permit, you've got to have classroom, you got to shoot on the range, and they haven't got all those rules put together yet. And so the law came July 1st, but we're not ready to go until probably sometime this fall. It's going to be a spendy deal. If an individual wants an enhanced concealed weapons permit, and what the hoping of the enhanced is that then states that doesn't honor ours now may honor ours, such as Minnesota and Nebraska are the 2 biggest states. So they're hoping that they'll get on board with us once we get our enhanced. Right now, we have reciprocity with 22 other states, but a lot of the states feel that our concealed weapons background checks and laws is not as strong as some of the other states, and so it's going to require getting a background check from DCI and Peer, which is going to cost $43 for the person. It's going to cost $100 to get the permit. $50 of it comes back to the county. Right now, on a $10 permit, $7 goes to the state and $3 comes back to the county. But on the enhanced one, we'll get half, $50 back. So it's as soon as they get those administrative rules, as soon as they can figure out what they're going to instruct and how the gun range is going to go, what they're going to have to do, then we'll get going on this. Right now, probably the Utah. We have 2 instructors in town that teach the Utah. You don't have to be a resident of Utah to get a Utah concealed weapons permit, and then that's good for Minnesota and Nebraska and a bunch of other states that we have. So right now, Utah is probably still the better deal. But anyway, so a little bit of that. We talked about marijuana legislation and those types of things. Civil process. Talked about bringing forward with our lobbyist probably increase fees for delivering civil process papers, because that's a big part of our operation. Every sheriff's office has a lot of civil process. Other than that, Watertown is experiencing really a peak of inmate population at their jail. The day we were there, they had 82. I guess he can hold 96. And I suppose you'd consider that jail probably a regional jail, because Kingsbury County and a lot of places go to there. And the Kingsbury sheriff and Dual County sheriff cornered me in the corner and wondering when I will have a contract with them so they can bring, because Watertown's experiencing an overflow right now. So it's we haven't experienced that spike. There for a while we were experiencing that spike into the 30s. Now we're back in the 24s again. But a lot of these inmates that I have right now are in there for waiting for pre-trial. They can't make bond, but they're also they shouldn't be out in society either. They're probably a threat to society. So I have quite a few of these 24 that are in there are pre-trial, waiting for trial, and so it just I don't know. We just haven't experienced that big spike yet, and I think it's coming. It's just a matter of time. But boy, Watertown is really experiencing that. Other than that, I guess we've had a lot of traffic complaints, speeding and stop sign violations. Big kick right now with all the highway deaths that we've had in South Dakota. So they're encouraging all law enforcement to step it up on traffic enforcement and seatbelt usage and those types of things. So other than that, if you have some questions.
Questions for the sheriff?
We're keeping Abby busy with, or maybe she's keeping us busy with the emergency committal. So, thank you.
Dick?
Good morning. A week ago today, I attended the STIP meeting in Sioux Falls. It was rather repetitious of the meeting I had in Watertown. They didn't have any further guidelines. They just said that after that meeting, they would begin to prepare what they'd have for listings and guides and rules. And the rest of the meeting was going over what would be more the Sioux Falls region projects that are still on the STIP. Then Wednesday, I had a meeting, pre-construction meeting for 213th Street, and that was at CDI Engineering. Everything looks pretty well ready to go. They probably won't get started until later on in August. The good side is it looks like everything's falling into place, that it should go rather quickly once they get started. The pre-construction meeting is simply a opportunity for utilities and contractors, subs, and everything to kind of make themselves aware of any problems or any anticipated issues they might have, and there were none. There's one fiber optic cable that MediaCom will dig deeper and relocate, and you're aware of the water line with the city, BMU, and other than that, everything looks good. Another thing, we're finishing up, or the box on Highway 5 is pretty well done and open. It's open to traffic. The road, we're doing a little bit of cleanup work, straightening up and dressing up the ditching and stuff like that, and getting rid of a little more rubble. And Holloway Construction is putting the finishing touches on the box on 7. So they will hopefully get some of their material. We're hauling up to them today, and should have a pretty good grip on that. Also, if people ask, one of the benefits of doing this on a contractual hourly rate is we're doing some of the cleanup, we haul the aggregate, we buy the aggregate. Everything that we do reduces our cost. And so it's kind of a win-win situation. The contractor doesn't spend a lot of time doing menial type restoration work, and we also get a chance to reduce our costs. So if anybody asks why we're out there doing the cleanup and this and that, that's the reason we're doing it. The culvert work that we're doing on Highway 12 is almost complete. There's a couple more to go in. We're going to wait till after they get done with their egg demonstration days at the seed place south of Olga on 5, and then we should be able to finish them up. I made contact with the Sterling and Eureka Township board members, and I'll meet with them tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. to discuss some possibilities of project happening on the Northern Sky Dairy Road, 468th Avenue. Hopefully we'll come to an agreement of what would be a doable project, and then I will move forward to kind of shore up and get the process going in a formal manner. Our trucks have been working this week helping out Moody County with some of their blade lane patching of asphalt, and they're running behind, and so we're helping them. And once they get that done, then we should be setting up to start with our chip sealing. So it's important that everything down there is ready to go. And then lastly, July 28th, the evening of that through August, probably 6th, I'll be moving my kids to Arizona, so I won't be available if someone's looking for me, but I'll leave word of who to get a hold of and whatever. So that's it, unless you have any questions.
Questions? I guess this we had in our packet, and we got a hard copy. Is there anything that the commissioners should be aware of that is problematic for Brookings County?
Not really at this point. The one thing that's going to be, I think, a little bit different is every year before we approve the new road plan or whatever, there's a section in there where we give an update and a status on projects. And not that it's going to be difficult, it's just going to be something that we'll want to make sure we get that in the whole process. If certain things are pending or on hold, or money that's committed to other things, we'll want to make note of that so that they're aware that we're not just coming up with a whole new thing. And the other thing is, they're going to, each and every year, you're going to have to submit an application that will be certified by the board that this is what we want. And so it'll be something that, a hoop we got to jump through, but I think it'll be easy enough. But other than that, I don't see anything. A lot of the other stuff we already have completed or on record. The engineering is kind of interesting that we're already starting for next year our structures under 20 feet, which are not eligible. We're getting started with some of the hydraulics, and we'll also turn in to the historical archaeologists that these are not historically significant structures, so that we don't get any snags along the way. It's kind of nice that we learned this year that we'll cross that bridge before we get to it next year. Then, as far as what I put in my budget and our 5-year plan, whatever, if it looks like it's good to go and you haven't received, it's just a matter of us having our public meeting sometime in August or September and certifying at a later date, and we turn it in with the other stuff for our first year's application.
Okay.
And the only other thing I think you're aware of, if you look through that, in 3 years, you're eligible for a maximum of $4 million. So that'll be just pretty easy for us to stay within and still meet our needs. I think the way they're scheduled to come up, especially the bigger structures, the $2 million ones. So,
Okay.
other than that,
Thank you.
we're ready.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
All right, the best for last. No, I'm just kidding, the other people. But it's nice to have Vicki and the finance report.
Good morning. To kind of give you an update on our office, we have been working on trying to get the real estate taxes online to be paid by credit card for some time, and Sean has been great. He's been working with Beacon, with Schneider, that has our website, and also with GovTel, that we already have our contract with them for credit cards. He's been working with them. It is getting close to being online. It is a $1,600 charge compared to $30,000 we were talking about 2 or 3 years ago. And then there'd be an ongoing maintenance fee of $600 a year. But I will let you know at the next meeting, but hopefully in the next month anyway, we should have that capability. So we're excited about that. And we had 3 of the artists from the Boys and Girls Club come and tour the building and see their pictures. And Michelle came down and took some pictures and put it on the website. So if you haven't seen it, look at those. They were very proud of having their pictures, and that was good. We've had a lot of positive comments in the office of the pictures also. And then you should have received your finance officer's report, and the be it noted items are the auditor's account with the treasurer, the payroll and additives total, highway expenditure report, and the register of deeds statement. And then also an action item will be the transfers from general fund to the highway and bridge fund of $1,488,542, and then from general fund to emergency management fund of $12,490.25. And this would be the third quarter transfers. Any questions?
Well, sit tight and we'll have a motion to approve that action.
Move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded to approve action of the transfers per budget appropriations third quarter of 2015 to highway and emergency management from the general fund. Any question or discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. I think we'll move into regular business with everybody's permission, and we'll go to item A, action to approve fireworks display on August 1st at the Midway State Camp on Highway 14 near Volga. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved. Is there a second? Krogman Miller. Any discussion or question concerning this item?
There's no burn ban or anything going on right now in the county, so.
No.
Right? Do we need to they have to alert the local, the fire chief on that? Do we need to?
I would recommend that
Right.
they do.
When we get back in touch with this person, we can let them know that.
Yes.
So they know what's going on. And then obviously the sheriff, so when somebody calls in, sheriff can say it's been approved. So,
Okay. Any other question or discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. B, action to approve agreement number 15-73, an application for occupancy of right-of-way county highways between Brookings County, South Dakota, and Sioux Valley Energy.
so moved.
Krogman?
Second.
Miller. Question or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. C, action to approve agreement number 15-74, an agreement with Midwest Cyber Solutions for service and maintenance of e-poll books for the 2016 primary and general elections.
Move to approve.
Second.
Miller Jensen. Any question or discussion?
Just to give you a little update too, Abby looked at this contract and she had one suggestion and they did change that, and I had her review it again and she was okay with the way they had changed it. And also I've talked with Leanne on this also. And we do have in your packet a backup in case he would be not able to help with the elections, and this would be through HART, and they also do work. They're out of Dallas, Texas, but they do work on South Dakota machines, and they'd be able to dial in and help us in the case of an emergency. And also her suggestion, Leanne's suggestion, was to have Sean involved too, and we will sure be talking to him and have him involved, so if it would be any of the computer-related things, that he would be able to help us as well.
Okay, thank you, Vicki. Any other question or discussion concerning this motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. D, action to approve resolution number 15-43, a resolution placing taxes on an uncollectible list.
So moved.
Krogman, Miller. Questions and discussion concerning this resolution?
Vicki, when they say moved, is that moved out of the county?
Moved out of county. The one for Vanderbilt Mortgage, the one that was $623.46, we did do an abatement for this year's taxes, but last year we had already given the distress warrant to the sheriff's office and it came back, so we had to follow that process. But yes, it was moved out of county. And the others were moved out of county or destroyed or something, and so that is, they weren't there any longer. And then there were two that were unlivable, and the sheriff's office is good. They sent pictures and took pictures of the ones that were unlivable so we could see that. And I can sure, get that to you if you would like.
Any other questions? I'll call the roll. Yeah.
Krogman,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Jensen,
Aye.
Pierce,
Aye.
Wyseth.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. E, action to approve resolution number 15-44, a plat of Lot 11A in Block 1 of Sunset Point Addition in the southeast quarter of Section 22, Township 112, North Range 47, west of the 5th Prime Meridian of Brookings County, South Dakota. Is there Krogman? Miller. Krogman, Miller, Jenna, and, well, Bob, go ahead.
Good morning. This plat was heard in our July planning and zoning meeting. This is a lot up against Lake Hendricks itself. It was platted years ago, and then it was replatted back into ag land, and now that a lot has sold, they wanted to come in for plat 11A. And our board approved it and sent it to this board with recommendation of approval.
Okay, how's that fit with our natural resource?
Lake Hendricks is lake park in that area, so
That's right.
this lot
Okay,
is.
so it's not, okay, I misunderstood what you were saying.
So I guess I got a question. Was it platted to ag into that track 3, so it's pretty wide, and now they're taking something right in the middle of it?
Right
and
in the middle
platting
of, yes, sir.
it? And so the stuff on the side is still ag?
Yes, sir.
Wasn't this lot raised up, added to?
There might have been some fill put into it when they worked on some of the other lots. I'm not 100% sure, but
Is it a lower area? Is that where drainage comes into the lake?
the drainage comes into the lake on just to the north of this particular lot. This is the highest lot of the 3 lots. There is a distinct drainage area just to the north of this
To
one.
the north? Okay. So it's not, we're not gonna cause any problems of stopping the drainage to there, backing up into somebody's,
Not in this instance, sir.
okay, but if they wanted to plat the north part, then we've got an issue.
Then we'd have to take a look at to make sure that the area where the drainage comes from the ag land into the lake is not impaired. Yes, sir.
Okay, Commissioner Pierce? Yep.
Were you asking a question?
Well, I just, since you were there and as the commissioner, do you have any
There
problem?
was no objection from the Planning Commission, and questions were asked. I think it's fine.
Okay, thank you. Any other question or discussion concerning this resolution? Hearing none, Jenna, please call the roll.
Miller, Jensen,
Aye.
Pierce,
Aye.
Krogman,
Aye.
Wyseth.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, F, this was tabled from July 7th. Action to approve a resolution number 15-40, a resolution authorizing Brookings County Regional Railroad Authority to certify a tax levy in the event of a default. You have a letter before you. I guess it's how the commission wants to handle this tabled item. Was scheduled for today. I suppose if we didn't address it today, it would stay on the table.
Well, Mr. Chair, since it was specifically tabled until today, we needed to have it on the agenda for today's meeting.
Yeah.
What Novita has requested is that it go back on the table until a point where they are able to come back with some more information. They are working on the request that was asked of them from the last meeting, but it's taking more time. It's not something they can just come to an answer of right away.
Yeah, I was just thinking if there was no action, even though it was put on the agenda, there was just no action, then it would just stay there. But
If there's no action, I don't think it stays on the table. I think it
okay,
dies.
well, that's important.
So you should move to put it on the table if you want
Do
to
we
do so.
take it off the table and then retable? Do you take it off the table and then retable?
Today, it was tabled until today's meeting, so I think it is a present agenda
not
item.
tabled.
Yeah,
It's
no, I
not
know, but the
tabled.
motion.
It isn't tabled right now.
Right, you don't have to take it off the table. You would move to table it.
So I'm
Okay.
I'm going to make a motion to table this indefinitely.
Indefinitely? Or-
Now that brings up, go ahead, I don't want to, if we want to get a second or not, but I want to discuss that because I think we've talked about tabled indefinitely absolutely kills it.
For now.
It doesn't kill it, but it puts it on the table. And you could vote at any meeting in the future to say, I'm voting to take this item off the table. Or you could just say, I'm moving to table this,
Okay.
and not give a specific date.
Let me just, Robert Rules is not my favorite friend and pen pal, but it seems like if you have a tabled item and it's scheduled for action, it seems like you should have a motion to bring it off the table, and during that action portion, you can table it again, versus having a table motion coming out of the blue.
But we tabled it for today.
That's what I'm saying, but we should bring it off the table and then table it again. And like I say, Robert isn't my best friend. And I think we're in agreement
Not you,
where
Bob.
we want to
Not
get
you.
there.
You're okay.
I think we're in agreement where we want to get. I just want to get there in the proper.
You are the chair and you conduct the meeting, so you can elect to handle it however you choose.
Well, thank you. Well, I would like to have it, a motion to take it off the table. And
So moved.
Krogman, is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to take it off the table. Now we have the resolution before us. Is there a motion to?
Vote for that, take it off the table.
Is there a vote for that? I got it. Well, I got the,
You just made a motion.
yeah, yep, okay.
Just voice
All
vote.
those in, okay, any question or discussion? All those in favor of taking the action item off the table, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Now, somebody wants to make a motion to table it, either indefinitely or until, they're exact, as a result, we request action regarding the loan remain tabled until South Dakota Railroad Trust Fund has a capital bill.
So if we table this indefinitely, we can pull it back up. when
Sure.
that
I don't know whether you just want an end date on it, that's all. It could sit out there for,
See, that was my question I thought we had a while back, was what actually allows you to bring it back at any time, or that it's on the table and it's dead. And I thought when they said in table indefinitely, that was a dead thing, that nobody could bring it back anymore. That was my thought, that unless we had a tabled and date, like end of the year, table within a certain amount of time. I don't remember the conversation. It seems like that's what I was thinking.
Well, a simple resolution might be just to move to table the item until we receive additional information from Novita, and it should be reconsidered.
That's what I moved.
I thought that's what you said.
Yep.
I'll second that.
Moving to seconded to table until we get further information from Novita. Any question or discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries, and it's now 9:30. We have a guest, Paul Mance from Sioux Valley Energy, Key and Account and Community Relations Executive, scheduled for some time before the commission.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me. Like you said, my title at Sioux Valley Energy is Key Accounts and Community Relations Executive. I'm new to the position, so I wanted to get a chance to get in front of all of you and introduce myself. As you know, we're one of the utilities that serves the Brookings County area, and Brookings area as well. Just to give you a few quick facts on Sioux Valley Energy. We're a distribution cooperative. We have 22,962 customers, 99 employees. Our CEO is Tim McCarthy. Our power suppliers include East River Electric out of Madison, South Dakota, and L&O Power Cooperative out of Minnesota. We have 5,800 miles of line. 50% of this is underground, and 50% of it is overground. We have 3 service centers, with our headquarters being in Coleman, South Dakota. We have another one in Brandon, South Dakota, and one in Pipestone. We also have a subsidiary called Sioux Valley Wireless that provides wireless internet to our service territory. And we have a governing body of 11 members that are elected. And our service territory includes Brookings County, Lake County, Minnehaha County, Moody County, and eastern Kingsbury County in South Dakota. We also serve Pipestone and Rock counties in Minnesota. And we serve a number of towns in South Dakota and Minnesota as well. My role with Sioux Valley Energy will focus on working on economic and community development projects in our service territory. So I'm a resource for any community service, economic development, or any other inquiries you may have regarding Sioux Valley Energy. Community service is one of our guiding principles, and our company is active throughout our service territory. We offer a number of programs, including economic development assistance and support, community room use, a cooperative connections card, which is a partnership with a lot of local businesses. Some of these are in Brookings. We also do electric safety demonstrations, energy efficiency advice, Operation Roundup, which I'll talk a little bit more on in just a second. We also offer scholarships, trips to Washington, D.C. for youth, and Touchstone Energy Scholar of the Week recognition program, and financial contributions to schools and organizations as well. And Operation Roundup, which I mentioned before, it's a program where members' bills are voluntarily rounded up and donated, and then we donate the proceeds from that to community service projects, economic development programs, education and youth initiatives, and emergency energy assistance. These funds are also available for disaster relief if needed. Since 2001, we've donated $1.25 million through this program, and nearly 75% of our members and employees participate in it. If you hear of anyone who's interested in it, there's a grant for it that's available at our service centers and online. And secondly, another program I wanted to highlight was the READ Fund, which stands for the Rural Electric Economic Development Fund. This provides financing for private investment in communities and rural areas in our region, provides loans to businesses, non-for-profit organizations, and local governments. It's administered by East River Electric, which I mentioned was our power provider and out of Madison, South Dakota, and its member electric distribution co-ops, which Sioux Valley Energy is one of them. Projects include, but are not limited to, business and cooperatives engaged in manufacturing, retail, service, and tourism industries, community projects relating to wastewater, healthcare, education, telecommunications, public safety, and recreation, and producer-owned businesses and cooperatives that add value in the agricultural industry. It's also available for multi-family rental housing with community support. I have some brochures I can pass out after I'm done speaking. And just to give you an update on Sioux Valley Energy projects in Brookings County, the Aurora substation upgrade is being made to accommodate the planned agricultural plant near Aurora. Construction on the new Elkton substation started this year. This line can serve as a backup during area outages and support a number of large dairies in the area. And Sioux Valley Energy will also be replacing over 15 miles of existing distribution line within Brookings County. This is part of a company-wide effort to upgrade infrastructure. If you have any future questions on future projects that Sioux Valley Energy is going to be doing, just let me know and I'd be glad to help you out. And in conclusion, I'd just like to say that Sioux Valley Energy has a great interest in the further success of Brookings County, and I'd like to be a point of contact if you have any questions, and look forward to working with you. Do you have any immediate questions for me?
I have a question. Of the 22,000 customers that you have, do you have an idea how many of those are Brookings County residents?
I don't know that number off the top of my head, but I'd be glad to get it for you and can follow up with that information.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, does your brochure deal with this economic development support program?
Yes.
Okay.
It highlights the READ Fund, which I talked about, which we do in cooperation with East River Electric.
Okay.
And I can
That
leave that for
piqued
you.
my interest when I heard that. I love economic development. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I just want you to, you're new at this, right? This is your new.
Yep, started May 1st.
I want you to go down and I want you to thank again Ted Smith, Michelle Nielsen, and Jim Kuiper for all the help they gave us on the 34th Avenue project and their cooperation. Of course, your CEO, who I can't remember his name.
Tim
It was an
McCarthy.
Irish name or something.
Yep,
Yes.
McCarthy, yep.
Yeah, but we worked with them, and they be sure and say hi and thanks again for their help.
Definitely will do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Well, oh, you going to pass out those brochures? Yep. And welcome to Sioux Valley, I guess. Okay. G, discussion on a request from Aurora Township for Brookings County to take over portions of township roads. Well, discuss away. Well, can you put it on the screen there? Okay. There's two roads, and this came from Mark Jornby. As Stacy pointed out, it wasn't from a resolution or anything from the township board, but there has been some concern back when Commissioner Miller and I were on that grant. There was some talk of that section of 34th and its amount of use, people cutting home to White and things like that. And we had Sheriff Stanwyck go out and put some counters. And so that is a discussion point. And then they did add the mile and a half that's left to hook onto 34th, which we're working on. And well, let's discuss it. I guess what your thoughts are. Hey, you want us to do one at a time? 34th Avenue.
Well, I think 34th Avenue, high amount of traffic. Not only from people going to the landfill, but also it's, like you said, people taking the back road home to White, or there's a large number of residents to the north of Brookings that utilize 34th Avenue getting to work. You got Novita, I mean, all the businesses on the east side of the interstate, basically.
And
Used
Dick, you're,
extensively, and I mean, the township, their maintenance, maybe bladed once a month, along with their other roads, is not adequate. It needs more maintenance and more material, gravel, whatever.
and I think Dick's welcome to chime in on this discussion, since it would be his work. Go ahead. Were you going to say something, Leanne?
I was just going to ask Larry if he'd speak directly into his mic. Thank you.
Sorry, Leanne.
How far is this first stretch?
The 34th Avenue?
1
Yeah.
mile.
It's 1 mile?
Mm-hmm. The city, I believe, took over 1 mile of the township road to get to their
Right.
landfill.
And then ours would be the next mile north.
The next mile, yes.
How do you feel about this, Dick?
Well, I guess I'm not really looking for more roads to maintain. From a budgetary standpoint, I don't think it would be a large amount as proposed, but as you know, as the traffic picks up, or the better we make the condition of the roads, the traffic tends to increase in speed, and it also uses it instead of alternative routes. The 213th section, that was probably going to happen sooner than later because of the project going on there now. The big difference there is you've got a lot of people using that as a means to get into the east side of Brookings. The difficult thing for me to understand is why, when you've got good paved roads within a mile of these locations, would you take a gravel road, no matter what condition, to get as a commuting route to work instead of using, 14, or the 34th is kind of a landlocked, but that too is, you could either go, if you weren't going west of the interstate, it might have value, but if you're coming from the north, I would assume you'll be on 25 or 46. I guess I don't see it. I haven't had any. I think Marty took some traffic counts, but I don't know what exactly we would have for steady traffic. This is kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of a bad year to take requests and traffic counts because of the disruption in our normal traffic flows in the Brookings area. The bypass, which handles an enormous amount of traffic, for example, now is creating at a minimum 15, if not 20-minute delay for anybody traveling that way. So any of the locals obviously have switched. 213th Street has always been a busy way for the people that want to cut in, but I don't know what they're really cutting off. I don't understand. They're cutting off a mile, I suppose, instead of going up to 14. Also, from a standpoint of our road system, it might behoove us to focus a little more on what we've got and let things kind of settle, so to speak, till we decide whether we'd want to take on more. Should you want additional maintenance or give aid or something like that, that would be possible. I mean, that's something that's doable. However, as far as when you take over the jurisdiction, like we found out, it kind of changes the gamut as far as what people could request or expect as far as service. So those are my 2 cents worth.
Okay, well, thank you. I guess, yeah, the reason I mentioned White, that was the specific request from a person from White, but yeah, but serving the Northwest probably makes more sense to people to cut up that way across the interstate, miss the whole community problem of Brookings and be on their way to Bruce or whatever. The 213, I guess we're moving off the 34th, but is that if the city of Brookings does the 20th Street overpass, it's 214 that we're going to hear about. Once again, what's a mile? You know, one way or the other, but that'd be a future commission. That's a ways out there, but as far as some are concerned, sooner than later, but still out there a ways. But anyway, I think 34th right now is getting a ton of work, a ton of travel, and to help them out a little bit, I lean that.
I know it is a construction year, and it's being used heavily. This road has been like this for years, not just this year.
Yeah.
Concerns have been there for years. Something needs to be done on this stretch of road, either some more maintenance. Township can't afford to do that, maintain it once a week or even twice a week to keep up with the traffic. The 213 is probably not an issue right now, but I guarantee you it will be. You have all these, Aurora's expanding. A lot of people are being hired on the east side of the interstate and all those businesses. I feel they'll use that road the same way they're using 34th. It's not an issue now, like Dick said, but sooner or later it will be. 34th Avenue, I mean, something needs to be done here.
Yeah. Well, I've been out that way, and I agree with that, Larry. That's been used long before the bypass situation. And the question I would have for Dick or anybody who knows anything about roads is, before you keep going out there and doing maintenance, is there some substructure problems there that we'd have to, we took it over, we leave it a gravel road, but we're just going to have a heck of a mess out there, no matter if we're out there blading every day, because we'd have to spend even more money to build it up to a road that can be maintained.
That's true, and also as being one of the most popular roads traveled in that township, I guess I would be interested in seeing receipts of how much they have spent in past years as far as improvements or upgrades to where it can handle that kind of traffic. No one can predict when traffic patterns change or if they will change. However, it should be their first responsibility to address it and not expect the county to take it over just as a relief or something that they're not capable of. So again, there's a new number of roads, 46 going west of 77 because of all the trucks missing the bypass and hauling gravel. They want that paved. You know, that's their request to me. And I said, well, that's something you're going to have to officially, come up with. But, so I guess the point I'm trying to make in a roundabout way is there's an enormous demand out there, and there's a very real shortage of funds in these townships. And if we address certain ones, I think others are going to surface in just the same fashion and probably have just the same criteria as everyone else. So we really have to decide if we're going to start taking these on to kind of decide whether it'll be dictated by traffic counts, whether it'll be dictated by what circumstances do we decide that that's in our best interest for Brookings County. And if it is, then that's what we do. So,
Go ahead, Leanne.
I was going to say that 213th Street just makes sense to me to do that because we've just got this little piece that's in between two county roads. It's would not be, based on what Dick said, a real problem to maintain. And I think whoever said it's inevitable that it'll happen eventually is right, and that we should just go ahead and do that. The other piece, we need some more discussion on, in my opinion. But in any event, if the township's going to come back with a resolution, Stacy, could you ask them to do the two pieces in separate resolutions, not to do them as a joint resolution?
Yes, I can do that.
Thank you.
Okay. You mentioned traffic count as a standard. Is there a standard in traffic count before a certain level of road or ownership or?
Generally, if you're speaking traffic counts, like if you were going to justify paving a road, for example, if you have 250 or greater average daily traffic, that would kind of constitute that it would probably be money better spent paving that road versus leaving it gravel. There's also other avenues that can help preserve your gravel, stabilize your gravel. Those we currently don't entertain here in Brookings County unless they privately want it. So I think more importantly than those types of issues, when you're talking about taking something over or including in your system, is what's the function of the road? What is it designed for? Normally an arterial is to move traffic, and I guess that's self-explanatory. A collector is where people would follow more of a lateral or local type road to get onto our system and get it to an arterial. If you look at national standards, an arterial would be more like the interstate system. The state highway system would be, probably a less of an arterial, and our system would be secondary or a collector type thing. So when you look at function, if X number of people were traveling from a subdivision or from Aurora coming to Brookings, if it's a traveled route, then you would consider it on your system. It's very unlikely when you've got an arterial a mile from 213th Street, for example, that you would make 213th Street much more than a rural collector, because that's basically what you're going to get. So those are some of the aspects you would want to look at should you take something over. And it's kind of like if you were going to create in a municipality emergency routes. They have to exist for a reason, to go to a hospital, a nursing home, a fire. You get what I mean? It's more purpose driven than it is, or function driven, than by traffic counts. But you would use your traffic counts as justification as why this road's function is changing, for example.
Yeah, I think the little problem we have with these two roads, we have an attractive nuisance of 1 mile or more, in Novita's case, of attraction to get your car on there. And once they're on there, they're going to finish that direction. And that, I think that's the deal with the landfill. They got a mile there of paved road, and that'll be the deal on Novita. So, we'll see, I guess.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
You mentioned we're maxed out in road miles, and you mentioned that possible assistance. What did you have in mind there? if we were to assist them?
Well, generally, if you were looking at assistance on an as-need basis, you know, hey, when the next time you guys are going out to Blade 46 going east, would you mind brushing up this township road? I don't think you would get into the more reconstruction, like fixing the soft spots and stuff like that. If they did contact us for that, that would have to be probably their monetary contribution, and we would provide, you know, the means of getting it done. That's what I guess I would consider as needs assistance, more than what typically happens is if you get into a routine, people tend to expect more than appreciate. And not that that's all bad, because we're here to help everybody. I don't mean that I want to be selective. But on the other hand, we don't want to shortchange our current system by making an added effort. For example, let's say the traffic dictates, like Larry says, let's say it dictates that road has to be bladed almost once a week, if not more, and that it probably needs gravel once a year just to keep it in an acceptable manner for that traveling public. That's more than just assistance. That means that road needs more attention, and maybe that would be a justification for taking it over once you find out what it really needs. I think it's a no-brainer that no matter what you improve is going to encourage, and that's what we want, a safe road for people to travel on. So,
Commissioner Miller, you mentioned we're at the max, but is that a factor anymore? Or what is the max? Max of what? A federal support? I saw Larry kind of.
You can have as many miles of blacktop in the county you want. It's the roads you designate federal
right
aid roads.
Yeah.
You can have hundreds of miles of gravel. I mean, you're not at the max. It's the roads that you declare federal aid roads.
Yeah. And you can only have so many miles.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can move those around if you want.
Yeah.
If one road's not seeing as much traffic, you can move that to a different route.
Do they have to have 100 feet of right of way too to qualify for federal?
Most of the time they do.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, we've seen this. We had the same issue on 34th Avenue South before we took over that stretch. High volume of truck traffic. Keep in mind, we do have a bridge posting on County Road 46 at the intersection of 34th and 46. So any trucks coming that are legally loaded but can't cross that bridge have to go south on 34th Avenue North. All our implement dealers are located on the east side of the interstate. We got the city landfill. I think the traffic counts will warrant if we, but like Dick also mentioned, what level of improvement are we going to do? I'm not sure that even just graveling the road and maintaining it once a week will be sufficient. You don't know.
Especially in the spring in those low spots. It'd be busy. Okay, it's 9:58. We got a couple minutes before our next scheduled agenda items. Where does the commission want to go with this? Do you want to wait to see if we get a resolution from the township, a separate one, and take what you've thought about here today? And
I just think that they should come up with some type of resolution, what formal request for us to take it over. And then I'd like to have some of that information at the cost that they're putting into it, how that compares to their budget and where they're at and how they're not able to keep up with it, with the travel and that kind of stuff. And then I guess I'd also like us to put together some type of, whether it's a policy or some criteria of what constitutes a reason to take over a road. Because I know Madera Township's coming up because they're going to have, we got a new school coming south there. It's a lot easier to go down a township road to get to that school than it will be going all the way around, and they're going to be coming through. And so they're going to be saying, you know, take this from us because now we got increased traffic and we need to update it. So I'd like for us to get some type of a criteria that would warrant us to even look at it, and then what do we need to do to meet it, and all that kind of stuff. So I'd like to see a resolution and some information from the township of their cost and how they're not able to keep up with it.
I think those are excellent ideas, Ryan, and maybe the wheel's already been invented on that criteria. There's other growth counties, and I like the criteria because, like Dick said, and some of you, is that we do this now, and we're going to be here, there, all over the place. But I want to do it for the good of the people and the safety of and the economic development of our county, that people can get around. But I'm just wondering, Dick, there's Minnehaha County comes to mind, Lincoln. They must have been down this road. Do they have a criteria that when there's these towns like Brandon and Del Rapids, they're just growing in population, and
They've also had their headaches. A lot of shared roads when borders change and jurisdiction changes. It's not as easy as a process. It's taken place, and so some of it's behind them. But you also can take into account, you know, Minnehaha County funds their entire highway operation by license fees. Well, if you were in another county other than Minnehaha County, you would never generate the revenue. And as long as they had the revenue, and as long as they had the manpower, which they added, that's really not as big of a deal. And it would be the same for us. I mean, if we start taking on additional responsibilities and maintenance, we'd be fooling ourselves to think that we could fund that with what we're currently bringing in. So those are just other things you want to keep in mind too.
well, thank you. Yeah, Minnehaha was a terrible example because of the city of Sioux Falls and all number of roads that are taken care of by the city and all the licenses. It is past 10 o'clock, and we have, well, I guess I would just leave it that we'll wait for the resolution. I think Ryan's points were well taken, and we'll go, and Leanne's splitting it out. 10 o'clock, Carly Leadholt. If I massacred it, let me know. Preparedness Team Leader with the South Dakota Office of Emergency Management. Presentation on IPAWS. Okay.
Excuse me,
Oh.
can we have you talk into the mic?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
My boys say I have a loud enough voice, so I'm just used to doing
Well,
that.
these are recorded, and
Yeah.
you're on
Sure.
TV, so.
Oh, good. The South Dakota Office of Emergency Management has recently, within about the past 6 months, was able to make a very good relationship with AlertSense, which is a software vendor, to push out messages to people all over the region of wherever you want to send those messages to. It's there to issue critical, geographically based public alerts and warnings to make sure that the safety of your citizens is held in top priority. What this does entail is a memorandum of understanding between the state and FEMA. It's kind of an oxymoron, but to get that memorandum of understanding or an MOU, you have to have a vendor. A vendor such as AlertSense, I think kind of took pity on us, and because FEMA will not give you that MOU unless you have a vendor. A vendor is not going to say, yes, we will do it for you unless they have the MOU, so you're caught right in the middle. So we were able to jump through some hoops and got that, and now AlertSense is broadening what they can do with their IPAWS messages to the state of South Dakota and to the counties within the state. Some of the types of messages that can be sent through the IPAWS is hazardous materials, shelter in place, and immediate evacuations. Those are the top 3 that are going to, without other factors like your radio stations that are going to give you weather alerts, or the TVs, the scroll downs on the bottom that lets you allow that to happen as well. It's instant to smartphone users or a cell phone that has an emergency alert, the availability of that on their phone. So not all smartphones. There are some even of the flip-top phones that have that emergency alert capability, and as long as the cell phone has that, then they can receive these iPause messages. The other 3 messages that can be sent are, of course, the impending weather, civil danger, and any local area emergencies. Those messages are sent through 3 different emergency alert channels. The first one is WIA, which is the wireless emergency alerts. Again, and I just kind of explained how that's sent out through the cell phones. It bounces off of the nearest tower of the area that it's being sent from. So if Mr. Hill were to send an iPause alert, it would bounce off the tower, send to a geographically area, a predetermined geographic area that we can put on either as a mapped area, or we can triangle that out to certain, down to a simple address of a house. So, I mean, it can be very specific or it can be very broad, however you want to send that out. They can also be transmitted to county FIPS code, and it also is very good for the transient visitors. And I can see, especially in Brookings County with SDSU, all of those students that are in and don't necessarily, 90% of them have smartphones. It's an easy way to get an emergency alert out to those folks. One of the reasons that the state went for it is because of the rally that's coming up, and especially when we're looking at having an extra 1 million people in the state of South Dakota. And if anything were really fun to happen, then we would be able to get some messages out to them to keep them safe. The other way, channel that you can get that out is through emergency alert system. And again, I said that a little bit earlier. It broadcasts on radio and television, on audio, and also on the screen scrolling on the bottom of the screen. And then non-weather emergency messages, which is broadcast through the weather radio networks that some people have, not all people have, but that's also another way to get those messages out. So currently, the state can send out the top 3, the hazmat, the shelter in place, and evacuation messages for anybody in the state of South Dakota. So if Brookings County was having a shelter in place, had a ammonia spill somewhere, and they really didn't want anybody to leave their home, Mr. Hill could contact me. We could put that emergency alert out to a specified area or to the whole county if you would want to, and let them know. The thing on the cell phones is people are not going to sit and scroll through and read, so you want to make them very short and very concise to what the emergency is, what you want them to do, and what is the next step for them to do. You would complete an iPause template, and I've included that in this packet that I've given you, so you can look through that as well. It's very simple, very easy to use. It's very user-friendly. You would email that template to me, or Mr. Hill would. I would let him know that I received that alert. If there's any questions, I would call and ask them at that time. And then that alert would be entered into the alert sent system for delivery to any of the citizens that were affected by that. So in your package, you have the alert sense with the mass communications. Down in the lower right hand where it just says iPause, the Integrated Public Alert and Warning System, that is the system that you could use if you desired to opt in and pay for the yearly maintenance fee. Now, if you go to the pricing exhibit, the first page, it's listed by counties. It's listed by population of the counties. So if you scroll down to Brookings County, you can see that for $1,750 a year, Mr. Hill then could go ahead and send out any of these 6 types of messages at any time that he wanted to do it. He would not have to go through the layer of myself to get those, the hazmat, the shelter in place, or the evacuation. He could send out any of those 6 messages. Now, if you would desire to choose the whole ball of wax, as they call it, then that's going to cost you $89.95, and that includes everything that's listed on this front sheet. So you have the reverse 911, you have the internal, You have the COG to COG is what they call community operating group, where you could actually go from county to county or from county to state, from county to another county in another state, however you think that would work for you. I would suggest that the most bang for your buck, if you're looking to purchase this, would be to use the iPause only, because you're going to be looking at sending messages out to just your county that are going to affect the citizens in your county. Although down the road, if you see that that's not enough, you can always opt to get up to that next level. I also included some of the iPause templates that we would use. There's active shooter in area, blizzard warning in area, flash flood warning. You'll see that those alerts are very short and concise. So I'll just take the top one for example. This is the Brookings County Emergency Manager. An active shooter has been reported at Madera Commons or wherever. Then it tells you what to do. Stay in your home, lock your doors. An active shooter has been reported at so-and-so. He's considered armed and dangerous. And then at that point, instead of repeating that line again, what you would say is listen to local media or wait for the next message to know that things are okay and that it's safe to come out. Let's see. AlertSense has been incredible about coming to train. If this is something that you would wish to proceed with, I know that they have assured me that they will come to any county in South Dakota and train you on that. I will assure you that it's very, very user-friendly, and a phone call, if you have a question on anything, is always returned very quickly. So there's never going to be any time when you're trying to figure out what's going on. They're going to have some good answers for you. And also then the county template, this is what needs to be filled out to put a message on the alert system. And let's see, the evacuation and shelter in place, the evacuate immediately and shelter in place warning, and then the hazardous materials warning. Right now, those are the three messages that Mr. Hill can contact me for and send out a message if you would need to, for no cost to the county at all. So to include the other 6 is where you're looking at that extra funding per year of I think it was $17.50. And then if you wanted to do all of the AlertSense capabilities, it would jump up to that $89.95. What questions can I answer?
Commissioners, questions?
You mentioned site-specific in a certain area. How does that work?
So there's a Google map
Okay.
on the AlertSense template that it's all web-based. So we put in a pinpoint of an area. So like say, I'm just going to make up let's just use 523rd Street. So I would put in the address 523rd Street. It would pinpoint just like on Google Maps does, and then it gives you an area around that, and you can move that map to however wide an area that you want to include that AlertSense warning to go out.
And that'll only contact the phones in
Those
that area?
phones in that area. Yep. Yep.
And phones that are from New York or from anywhere.
If they're in that area,
Yeah.
if that phone is in that area, it will send an alert to that phone.
I think I experienced that. I had 4 people in my car on vacation, and we were all from different parts of the country.
Yeah.
All of our phones went bing. There was a tornado.
Really?
warning. Yes, and in fact, we couldn't get back to the mall fast enough to. They had already closed it and chased everybody out, but we found a Cub food store and hid in the cooler. But everybody, I was wondering how in the heck we all have different system,
And probably different carriers.
yeah,
Very
and the
possible
whole
anyway.
everything, yeah.
Yep.
And they all binged at one time.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is a very good system to have in place. I am more than willing to assist Mr. Hill with getting it set up. It's very painless. The only thing is that if you do decide to move forward with this, you will have to have your own MOU with FEMA in place. That can be a little time consuming, but again, something that is very doable, and Mr. Hill is very well aware of how that process works, so.
Okay, I guess I got a question for Bob before we proceed. And we have those, we're not quite ready for the 911 part. Are we?
No, sir.
Okay.
I would recommend the cheaper version at this time.
Now, let me bring up that question, I guess. Our 911 meeting, we've talked about this, about law enforcement having the ability to send out warnings and different stuff too. How would this, I guess I don't want to have two systems going at the same time here if the law enforcement's going to look at something and do something that way.
Well, what would, that's one reason why I'm just a member of the 911, not a voting member of the E911, so we're fully aware of each other's systems. And like Ms. Leiholt said, you know, if we go on a cheaper version and start going up, and if it's something that we do want to move up, let's say the dispatch center doesn't want to go to the law enforcement only one, then this might be an option for them to look at and see. Okay. But by then, by us having our MOU in already at the cheaper rate, it's a lot easier to move up to the higher level at a later date than it would be to start off at the higher level now. And I just don't see us needing a higher level at this time, quite honestly.
Do we need to bring this to that 911 discussion that we're having with those? I mean, they're looking at different systems too of alerting the public for this too. So
I think that would be a very good idea, because also SDSU has an alert system for their students. So now we got that. So I mean, we may have two or three different alert systems out there with different messages. You know, if they have an active shooter on campus, they have their alert system, or if they have a sexual assault or whatever, they have their system already in place for their students. Mm-hmm. So now we got two systems. So I think that's a discussion we got to have with university and 911 to make sure that we're not overlapping our systems.
I like the idea of the ability to get a text to somebody directly in what they're carrying with them right now. I think that's very important, whatever the emergency is, whether it's weather-related or an active shooter or any of that type of stuff. I just want to make sure that all the parties that would be putting these out are all on the same page or going the same direction, I guess. And so I don't want to be spending $5,000 for this, and SDSU spends $4,000 for this, and we spend $9,000 for this, but it's all the same and we're doubling up. So I guess I'd like to see us, try to get that discussion going and figuring out if we can all get in the same direction.
Well, I can tell you my main focus is the hazardous materials incidents,
Mm-hmm.
tornado warnings, and the hazard warnings. Those are my main focus.
Right.
When it comes to the shooters and stuff like that, I'm going to have to rely on the law enforcement.
Yeah, exactly.
To me, that's. But I honestly don't see SDSU having a system that the Brookings County 911 system is ever going to be able to tie into.
And they may not. They may not because of that. And that's what we've been kind of hearing, that they have their state run, and that's what they have to go with.
State run, and
it's not with us. But I think we need to still have that discussion and talk with them and make sure we're doing the same thing. Now, you mentioned that we already get something for free that we can do already. What are those three?
You have the hazmat, the shelter in place, and the evacuation.
Okay.
Yep.
So if something that Bob could send a message to you, and
Yep.
you could send that out already. So what we'd be paying for are which ones?
The impending weather, the civil danger, and the local area emergencies.
Okay.
So, one thing you want to make sure too with those other systems is that if they're sending them to all text phones, because there are some vendors that will only send to those phones that are registered with that vendor.
Mm-hmm.
And, trying to get people to register with something is like trying to,
I understand.
pull hair out that you don't want to come out.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, just to think about. And, so make sure that those other warning systems have that ability to just bounce off and get into any other cell
Off
phone.
a tower,
Right.
rather than
Yep.
the
Rather than to have somebody have to
carrier
register with it. Mm-hmm. Or register an address or, a building or any of that type of thing.
We have it as an action item, and I was wondering, when would we start this, and what budget year, and where's the money? Okay. Is this available like tomorrow, or is it January 1st? What are we looking at?
We can start it whenever it works best for you folks. So Alert Sense, Alert Sense is willing to take it on at any time.
We have to get an MOU first.
As long as they know that that is in process,
Oh,
they
okay.
will allow the messages to be disseminated if needed.
Okay.
So what was your thought, Robert?
At a minimum, I prefer it to be put in the 2016 budget. I realize that budget's just about fun.
And we'd have to
Finalize.
add that to your budget.
For the 1750?
Yes.
Or if the commission wanted to, we could do it now, but we would have to find 1750 out of contingency or something. Yeah. So I'm open for a motion to take action and with a timeline. And I assume the 1750, but
The 1750 is per year, January to January.
It'll actually go from whenever you sign up for it, then the year after.
Okay.
My thought is to go with that, but I think first we need to visit with SDSU and 911 and just make sure that we're all going the same direction.
okay. If you go, we could always add the 8995.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah,
later.
definitely.
So I'm just thinking, in my mind, that if we did it, we could proceed with the 1750, and then we'd sort out the SDSU and.
If you did decide to do that, the thing that you could do with SDSU or the 911 is just make sure that your messages are the same. You know, that's not, I can help put those messages together to tailor them to, because you're right, the last thing you want is duplication of a message to go out in an emergency because people are harried enough already. You don't want to add more chaos to it. So if you have the same messages going out, and you can tailor these, you could put out whatever you wanted. You could tailor it with the SDSU or with 911 as well. So
I just think we're not ready for the 899.
I
but-
would suggest
Yeah.
not doing that.
And-
There's no reason to do that at this point.
And if you think it's worth the 1750, I think the question remains: do you want to start it in a month, or do you want to wait to the first of the year?
Marty, what are your thoughts?
It has to be, the city has an alert too. I get alert on my phone when they mosquito spray, but you got to sign up for it. You got to, and I do like the idea of you don't have to worry because people don't always sign up for stuff. So I like the idea. You don't have to worry about people signing up. You send it out, and then everybody gets it. See, and I don't know what the system is at SDSU. If they have to register with SDSU to get their alerts, or if that's.
Well, here's my thinking, and I appreciate your input there. That's what I like too. I like not having to sign up. That who's ever in the area, boom, it's going to happen. Especially on a tornado, any of that type of stuff. If they're coming through and you can hit those, so I think we go with the 1750. But I think we bring it up to 911. We have that discussion and say, there's this option for all of us to be on the same page. Is this going to fill in good for law enforcement and for SDSU, or is this not going to comply? And then try to get our hands around it. But I think that's something we don't have now. And we
Do
can
you
definitely
have, Reverse 911 have a vendor right now that they are going
That's
with?
what we were talking about. I think we're looking into it. That's
Are you?
the
We're
whole.
not got a vendor now.
Because the discussion is with SDSU too. How do we? They're going in this way, and we're like, okay, how do we do this now?
Hook onto their wagon
They're
and
looking
go
at a
with them.
separate system or separate vendor.
Yeah, there's a couple different vendors, and there's a couple different vendors out there, and
Trying to play with them all.
Yeah.
And that's something too, if the Reverse 911 would want to be into this system, that's to be the same system, that's totally doable, with some more information from Alert Sense to you folks, of course. And I would imagine that SDSU is probably hooked in with Board of Regents and all of how all
Absolutely.
that goes, so
yeah.
then,
and that's why that might be difficult. But we're trying to.
Yeah.
That's a hurdle that we may not be able to get all the way over.
yeah, yeah.
But we want to be able to make sure that everybody, because obviously they're in our county too, so they
Right.
need to get these
Right.
alerts, and whether there's a way to get that, I think is important
Yeah.
too. So, But, you know, I think it'd be a good start, so. And I guess, we can adjust the budget if we can find some funds, that type of thing, or come out of, there before, if we need to.
So do we have a motion to do it and when?
Well, we do expect a heavy blizzard season this year. Just so you know.
Before
California's
January 1st?
California's getting a big flood. Something tells me we'll.
I guess, could we ask them, would they be able to prorate this year?
Oh, I could certainly ask, yeah.
You know, that we could start it August 1st or something like that. We prorate it, we'd have to pull, you know, contingency, which would probably be under $1,000, my guess would be. And then we have to try to put it for first of the year and make it a yearly contract then, so we could budget for it. Does that make
I don't
sense?
want to speak for them, but I will certainly give them a phone call, and I'll do that as soon as we're done here, and see what they have for an answer and get it back to Mr. Hill. Is that okay to go that route? Okay.
I think that's fine. Okay, what do you think, Stacy, on that?
You know, if you want to do it sooner than later, then, you know, we'll have to wait to hear from her before you take action.
Well, I'm just hoping maybe to start it, if we want to prorate 1st of August, hopefully here within this next week or something, could send it out.
Do you want to make a motion that if it can be prorated, we'll start August 1st
Yeah, I would do that.
for this this 1750
Right.
plan, I guess. IPAWS only, I guess you
Yeah.
call it.
I probably only prorate that for the rest of the year to start August 1st, and then new contract for a year contract starting January 1st of 2016.
I'll second that.
Okay, Krogman Miller, to agree if it can be prorated to join the IPAWS only August 1st. Any more question or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have a 10:30 executive session in accordance with South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-2 under item 1, personnel. It's 3 minutes away. If you can take a 3-minute break, you're more than welcome to do that. And otherwise, we'll see you in there at 10:30.
Leanne, I'm going to hang up with you, and then I'm going to call you back from the executive session room.
That will be perfect. Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll talk to you again in just a minute.
Thanks.
Yep.
Is Tebo married? He's not married. Okay. Sure. I just know him from he's a golfer. He's one of my. Oh, does he? Sure. No way. Yeah, he was. Yeah. No, he's 60. Yep. He just had his 60th birthday. Yeah. Huh. Oh, that's funny. Sure. Well, good for him. I like Tebo. So now, you know Lee Lundy? So do you? Oh yeah, they're like best friends. So do you live out by them then? Does Lundy's live out there too? Because I know they live. Yeah, they live a little more. They live north. Straight west. Okay.
No, I can't hear us. Might be recording.
soon as we get complaints someplace else, I think we put enough pressure on this and move to another location. And there's a little flag stuck in the bridge. No, this one's the one on 20th. They tread the water tower and goes, no, excuse me, 32nd. You go to 32nd and go straight west. We caught Stoner's Bridge. We didn't catch them littering, but we caught them smoking dope. That's before the 4th of July. We caught Stoner's Bridge. Somebody was shooting. Got a call that they were shooting. So they go, and they weren't shooting. They didn't have guns, but they had pipes. But this system you're talking about, you can't put the parts out from here. You gotta go through. So we wouldn't be able to put out this goofy alert such as lock your, burglary, northeast part of the county. See, that's where I want to alert this, to alert people of high crime rates. Be on the lookout for scammers. You know, if I get a scam in the county, I put on the scams going on. See, that one, they wouldn't let all that stuff on this. That would go to everybody that's got stuff in that area. No, when I pull it out of the. Yeah, you get too much. No, it was probably from one of our power outages. Mike Stoltenberg was a policeman. He was driving through a parking lot, and those little, there's a gas station, where they put the gas in, there's a little manhole, or a little cover, and he hit that with the tire just right, but it came up and stuck. Went right this police car, just stuck right through it. Right when a door. Someday if somebody would drag along like that. In Watertown, it's my understanding they welded all of it, they did whatever they did to it. When the president came, they fastened all their manholes up. Or whatever they had to do to make sure that somebody touched them again. Yeah.
that always tends, Iowa caucuses always tend to kind of establish what's going to happen in the political field. Are they? Well, David Letterman used to hammer his hair, so. Oh, he says, what's living in it? On the military side. I got a picture, it's a small caption that shows, it shows Obama calling George Bush and hand this in from a windrower and he'd been I remember going over there, my police hat never fit, he had hat stretchers. So I'd go over there on my days off, and he'd put a hat stretcher on my hat. Never could get a hat to fit. You know? I must have been in between those sizes, 1/8 and 1/4. And he put this hat stretcher. And I'd go, and then the hat would fall down almost over my ears until it kind of pulled it back. I'd come on. And actually now I
Yeah, I hope so. We were just talking about that. Depends how long the other one goes. The
Hello.
stuttering sales.
Hello, welcome back.
Thank you.
That's number 36. Did I tell it right? Okay, I'll declare us out of executive session. We'll begin the meeting. We are at the Commission Department Director report, if I remember correctly.
Yes. I have been working on getting all of the paperwork that we need for our 2 grants that we have for the 213th Street project in line so that we can start getting those funds. The agribusiness grant, the $200,000 grant, everything is to them, but any and all requests need to be certified basically and submitted by CDI. So I'll be working with Carrie and Nathan there to make sure that they get that information out to the correct person so we can get reimbursed from that. The GOED grant, the $400,000 grant, was actually based on 34% of the total project costs. So once I sent all of those project costs in, our estimate was high when they said it was going to be $400,000. So actually the grand total for that GOED grant now is at $366,283.92. Put this up here. So I had Tom sign the last bit of paperwork this morning, so I'll get that submitted, and then I believe they're going to send 75% of that money to direct deposit to our account. So we'll be seeing that here shortly as well. I think at the last meeting we discussed utility amounts for the County Resource Center. Those I included in my report over the past couple of years. The 7th liquor license, the advertisement schedule, I have kind of a rundown of that schedule for issuing that 7th liquor license. It was published, the notice that it's available was published July 9th and the 16th. The deadline to submit applications is the 31st of the month. The board will review those applications and decide of those applicants who to make that offer to. And then once we know that, we can publish the public hearing on the August 27th and hold that public hearing on that specific applicant on September 22nd. So that's kind of our schedule for issuing that license. The state's county government interim committee, they added 2 meeting dates. Before I had sent you, they planned on meeting in September and October. They added a couple of meeting dates now for August 19th and 20th. All of those, I think I put the whole schedule of those committee hearings in it was part of my packet. Mm-hmm. If you would like me to attend those meetings, I can plan to do that. Go out to Pier and attend those so we at least hear what the discussion is. But yeah, they did add a couple more dates now. It was September and October. Now they added couple dates in August. So.
I'll kind of interrupt. Is that on that item? We don't have a particular change we want, and we could monitor it. But I guess I first would want to know how much our state association is going to be monitoring this. We'll be getting a complete report from them, which would be adequate, I guess, so.
Mr. Chair, I don't think that they fill us in very well. I would much rather have Stacy go out there and sit in on those meetings and bring that information back to us.
Well, it just doesn't seem like so far we were getting much out of, yeah.
You're right.
What do the other commissioners think about Stacy going out to that meeting?
Is there a possibility of listening to those meetings online, like you can do other legislative meetings?
There maybe I could look
all
into
the hearings
that.
you can listen to on real time.
I could look into that.
I mean, we're not testifying and we're just listening, so.
Right.
I guess, why don't you look into that? Otherwise, is there a consensus if, that she would go if it's not possible? So we get that straightened out. I guess there's a consensus.
Okay.
If you can do it online, great.
Yep.
Thanks.
Andy Dupre he's on the extension board. He had provided me with some information compiled by the 4-H program assistant Susan Vanderwall regarding the County Resource Center. 4-H youth advisor Sonia Mack had somebody actually submitted the application to me yesterday for the promotion and expansion committee. We've advertised this open position 2 different times and had gotten no one to apply. So she went out and she had found someone, had them fill out the application form. At the current time, we hadn't been publicized currently, but if that's something that the board wishes to come before you at the next meeting to fill that position,
yeah, I think
we
so.
can bring that. I'll bring that. I received the application, I just believe, yesterday. So there's some information in your packet regarding convention contests for this fall. If you have any ideas on those, please let me know, and we can look into that more. Due to some restructuring at Civic Plus, our website host, they're offering a 20% off sale, and I know we discussed that mobile app that is included in that. So instead of the $55, it would be $4,400. So the cost keeps coming down on that. This is a temporary sale, though. So.
That's the one where the people would have to, like we were talking, they would have to apply.
No, they would download an app.
Yeah, they would have to take the initiative to do
Correct.
it. Yeah.
Yep. We also received a request to do a proclamation recognizing September as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and that email from Stephen Firestein is attached to my report as well. If that's something that the board would like to do, I can start working on that we meet on September 1st, so that would be the perfect time to do that, if you are interested.
Is there interest in that? I did go online, look it up, just to make sure it wasn't Scam Incorporated or something, and it's not part of the American Cancer Society, but they do endorse it. It is on their list of cancer awareness, and I didn't know there were that many cancer awareness events throughout the year. September, I think there's 7 of them or something, quite a number, but is that something you want to, the letter referred to that the governor's office was going to do it or did do it?
Yeah, I'd have to look
the
at
way
it
it
again.
read,
It's been
I
a while
read it
since
twice. I got initial that they were going to do it, but I looked at they did do it. Well, how'd they do it unless they did it in 2014? But what's your thoughts? You want to proceed with her, have her investigate a little bit, but you have a problem with her doing it? Okay, go to work on it. And you can check on it a little bit and then work up his sample that he sent.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we also received a call from a citizen who suggested that the county buy the White Care Center. I did not take that call, actually. That was just a message that I was out of the office at the time, and one of my employees took that message. So the upcoming dates, the only thing new since July 18th has passed, but we wanted to get that information out to you. Friday, August 7th at 10:30 in the morning. This is on a Friday up in Watertown. The Senior Companions are holding their recognition event at the Elks Lodge in Watertown. Again, Friday, August 7th. And I wanted to get that out to you now because our next meeting is just a few days before that. So I wanted to give you a heads up on that. So Friday, August 7th at 10:30 at the Elks Lodge in Watertown. Otherwise, the only other, I think that's it.
Stacy, I had a question on the liquor license.
Yes.
Now, last fall when that came up, I just have this recollection, and I could be incorrect, that there was a September 1st deadline we had to meet with the state. Are we in compliance with whatever that date is?
We are supposed to, by September 1st each year, set the number of liquor licenses that the county is going to make available for the next year.
Okay, and we've done that.
And we did that that resolution was passed back in January, setting it
Thank
for
you.
the 7th for 2016, yes. So,
thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Deja vu all over again. I already asked her that question about a couple of weeks ago. Because I had already forgotten. Thank you, Stacy. I do have a question. Do we have to find another $34,000 then to make up for the difference in the planned $400,000, the $366 we're receiving in grant? Do we have to find another $34,000 for the road project?
Yes.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. Okay. All right. Deputy State's Attorney report.
I have nothing to report.
Okay. Commissioner reports and discussion items. Leanne, please start us out.
Thank you. On September 7th, the County Planning and Zoning Commission met, and Bob reported on part of that. The other thing that happened at that meeting is that Luke Miller gave us a first draft on our comp plan of some provisions that will go into that comp plan, and we're in the process of reviewing those for the next meeting that we have, so that we're working toward getting a set ready for the county commission to look at. On July 13th, I attended the groundbreaking at the hospital, which was very nice. Worked a little bit with Abby on that peddler ordinance, which I think she's going to have up in front of you pretty soon. And I do have to say that I got a lot of emails and telephone calls on the Novita Railroad matter. So we'll see how all that works out, and that's all I have to report. And if it's not a problem, I'm going to excuse myself at this time because I have another matter at noon.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Stephanie Miller's report was going to be very, very important, but go ahead. And
if you want me to stay, I can.
No.
No.
Okay, and thank you for your courtesy and letting me appear telephonically. I know it was a hassle, so thank you all.
Yep,
have a good day.
Yeah, bye. Larry.
I didn't have any meetings. Beta meeting was actually canceled. I did have a concern from the white emergency departments up there. Bob knows of it. Had a letter. All the commissioners have one. Last Tuesday there was an incident, and what happens is the pagers go off, and some pagers receive a message and others don't. At this incident, one person received it. You need two to roll your ambulance. We have an option up there with a text message that comes through the phone. That works well. They need to do both at the same time. Our fire pagers are the same. If you don't get the page, if you go back to replay it, all you get is static. Bob's going to kind of look into that for us. I'm not a radio person, but there's legitimate concern there. Also, I had quite a few comments on the Nevada Railroad Authority project also. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
On July 7th, we all attended the safety picnic and did budget hearing, in case you all forgot. On July 9th, a few of us did the CDI golf tournament. Fun was had by all. We really thought we won it. Yeah.
By 5 teams.
4. We were 8 under, and we thought we had it. And there were 4 teams that were 9 under.
No, just 3. It was just
oh,
3.
was it just 3?
Just 3.
So it was pretty. It was a fun experience, and I think it was good that the county made the effort to do this. Some good connections. On July 10th, I attended Gary Egeberg's retirement party, which was very nice. And some citizens showed up to speak as to what a wonderful person he is, and he is indeed. On July 13th, I attended the hospital groundbreaking. I too received emails on Novita. And to address just a little bit of history on in White, you know, when we had two-way radio come and try to look into our situations, you know, we did add another tower, and at that time they told us it's the topography, and we did step on this right away when we realized how bad everything really was in the White and Bruce areas. So is it your plan, Bob, to have them look into this again, or what are you thinking along those lines?
Well, it appears like my step is that I'm going to contact the dispatch center and see if they can, anytime they send the tones, that they send a text out at the same time. When they set off the pagers, request that anytime they do it in the White area, that they also send out a text.
Okay.
I'll do that in writing. I'll submit it to them and see what they say.
I think at one time it improved after the initial, but now I think something has happened.
So maybe, do we need two-way to look into this again?
Well, I think if what I'd like for them to do is every day at 6:30 they do the test, radio test. And I'm thinking if I can get hold of them and get them doing it after a week, we will be able to find out who doesn't get the text, and then we'll get the feedback from them.
Okay.
But we got to get the mechanism
Sure.
in place, and I don't know if they've got new dispatchers, and maybe one of them just didn't do it, or maybe an old dispatcher just feels it's not needed, or well, I don't know what the procedure is, but we will work on it.
Okay, and keep us apprised.
By all means.
Okay, thank you. Ryan?
Yeah. This is the
Can you
week
get
of
her
my-
done in an hour?
I don't know. This is a week
You've
of
been
my
busy.
meetings. Yeah. So went on the 13th to the hospital groundbreaking there for their new addition and stuff, new at there, which was nice. And then on the 15th, I had 3 meetings in a row. First was the E911. We were kind of light on the agenda there, but like we talked about last time, we talked about putting a policy, and where do we put the policy? We have a joint governance document with that, but it doesn't really have policy in it. And one of the policy we've kind of discussed between the city and the county was that we try to balance the budget. Well, it's not a balance the budget, but leave a cushion in the budget of at least $30,000 every year that is for emergency purposes. In case something would go down, that we needed to buy something, that $30,000 would be there for somebody to have to purchase something fairly quickly. It's not a capital improvement there. It's just basically $30,000 in the account. So when we get to budgeting purposes for that E911, we make a request to the city and the county to fund that there will be a $30,000 fund balance there. And we want to put that in policy. So they're going to work on that. The city is. I think what we're going to do is we're going to add a piece into the governing document and see attached policies, and we're going to start a policy document, and attached will be this policy. And so in future down the road. So you'll probably be seeing this change coming to you because I think we have to approve it, and so does the city council. So down the road here, you'll be seeing something coming from the E911 on that. But that's not there. From there, went to ICAP and had the meeting there, and again, a lot of updated stuff there. They're just doing a lot of good things, and they're trying to hope for their funding to continue to go on. One thing they did talk about was the Navigator. They're still talking about the Navigator project here. Kim Jones is our director of that, and that's for the marketplace enrollment and for healthcare, Obamacare and stuff. And so they're still working on that and putting together those things. We do need Brookings County low-income rep on that. And so there'll be, we have a county there, we have a private sector, and we need a low-income rep on there. So they're going to be looking to fill that position there and stuff too. So just a couple things there. Then went to BDC right after that, and They are moving into the Innovation Center here August 10th and 11th, so that's going along. And they're also, the contractors are doing work in their space of the entrepreneur space that they're working on there. And they're discussing Vision Brookings 3 campaign, which is the capital 5-year capital campaign that they're in. So there's a lot of discussion on that, of how they're going to start that and how they're going to run that situation. So that was on the 15th, and then the 16th, I attended the Brookings County Housing Redevelopment Commission meeting, and the HUD management fee is up to 79%, and so they're working with that situation. And then just the next meeting is October 15th there, so it was a fairly short meeting there. So I'll give Commissioner Wyseth the notes on that for that. So, oh, excuse me, they did change one thing on their. They talked about preferences for selecting families, and they added into it, they made a change, military personnel that were on the program prior to active duty and still qualify for housing assistance, but they've been gone at least 180 days. So somebody that has been deployed by the U.S. government for 180 days that previously was qualified for it now can get back as a preference. And so they added that to their wording of their bylaws, I think is what it was. So anyway, that's it.
Thank you, Ryan, and thanks for covering me while I was gone.
Yep.
And while you guys were golfing and hanging out in Washington, D.C., I was at the Pandemic Preparedness Coordination Committee meeting at the Fire Hall. And it was a short meeting, Bob, and not a lot happened without you there. And they're really focusing on your August 13th event, though. Yeah, so that was primarily the meeting. And other than that, I was gone. Did handle a question, and I dumped it on Leanne on concerning septic tanks on Lake Campbell and an ordinance change in our ordinances, and talked to Richard a little bit, and told him where to visit with Leanne and with Richard and Bob over any ordinance changes that would be coming up, if it's even legal, but to address their concerns. On that, let's go to executive session. Do we have a motion to move into executive session?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. No action will be taken following executive session. Oh, I didn't read you always got to do this. South Dakota Codified Law 1, 2, 25 through 2. Number 4, contract negotiations.